Well, I'm not really sure exactly when this happened, but it did happen before the Phoenix lights. And I was driving a taxi at the time, and I picked up this gentleman out of Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport, and I was driving him out around to an area near Luke Air Force Base. And he was a Mexican gentleman and couldn't speak English. And as we were heading out that way, we were heading west, and it was about sunset. And I exited the freeway, and now I'm heading north up towards Luke Air Force Base. And as I'm heading north, I noticed cars were pulling over on the right-hand side of the lane, and they were all staring west. The people getting out of the cars and staring west. So I was just kind of wondering what was going on. And the gentleman, all of a sudden, he can speak English. He says, "Oh my God, pull over." And I glance west and I see this big ball of light. I pull over and we both get out of the car and we're staring at this big ball of light over this mountain range. And the whole mountain range was glowing, and this big ball of light was just shining in the sky. And this big aura was just over the mountain range. And there was just a line of cars up and down the road, and everybody was just staring. And this guy was praying and saying, "We're not alone." And I was freaking out, thinking, you know, the alien, this has to be an alien encounter. And I started realizing why the government might be covering up something like this, because all my life I believed there was aliens, and I believed the government was covering it up. But now I was so frightened and terrified myself that I'm actually witnessing an alien encounter, that I can understand why they would possibly be covering up something like this. So anyway, we watched it until basically the light went out, but the glow remained, and it started getting dark. And we got back in the car, we started driving, and the gentleman said, "Hey, turn the radio on." And all of a sudden I turned the radio on, and it was like da 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 da, and it was like, "Hey, everybody calling in, we got a hold of the government, the Air Force Base," whichever one it was, Santan Air Force Base, and they're saying that they launched a missile, a Titan missile, and that's what everybody's seeing. And so that satisfied our fears and curiosities. And I thought about it, and the next day when I went to work, I was telling everybody about my experience, and until I reached this one gentleman who happened to be a colonel or whatever for the Air Force, and he explained to me that it was totally a farce, because if it was in fact a launch, the missile would have been launched in the other direction, having something to do with the Earth's rotation, and how the missile would have had to break out of the Earth's atmosphere, going in the opposite direction. So that put me back into the wondering of what I actually saw that night. And then about a week later, or whenever, there was a big announcement, which I didn't see myself, of the Phoenix lights. And that was my big story. So I guess we are not alone. Nail polish and sparkling acrylic paint.
With a circular communication device.
Yep.
It's almost like you've got your own circular communication device on your wrist right
there. That's a one of those
pressure point things?
Ionic bracelet.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe it's similar technology.
Hey, you're right. I didn't think about that. Good tie-in.
And I'm glad that you're wearing your sunglasses in this this version, because you match. I think you've got another tie in there. Well,
hey,
thank you.
Check this out. One of my favorite artists that I met when I went on a group trip. Let me see. His name is Father Bill Moore. This is his art.
Oh, that's nice.
Look what he does. Circles.
Oh, circles again.
I've noticed a lot of artists now, they all seem to be
And there's
using,
this kind of opening too, which is similar to,
yeah,
there's a weak section of the circle.
Yeah.
It's like almost as though that's where some sort of communication would take place, a
Yeah.
penetrable space.